thank you for joining us back again for now the second award category this afternoon that we're looking at, which is the Lifetime Contribution Award. It's slightly different to the other awards that we present in that this is looking to highlight a particular individual who's made significant contribution to the sector. This year, very kindly sponsored and supported by Prometric. And I'm delighted to introduce to the stage now Garrett Sherry, who's Vice President of Account Management for Europe, Middle East and Africa for Prometric.
It's a great pleasure to be with you all today to present the 2021 Lifetime Achievement Award. Prometric, as many of you will know, is a leading global provider of technology-enabled assessment and testing solutions. We've been at the forefront of paving the assessment industry's path forward with new solutions and innovation for over 30 years now, but always with the objective of empowering people to realize their personal potential, and doing that by providing reliable access to secure assessments anytime, anywhere. With that commitment to the evolving application of technology in assessment, it was a natural choice for us to sponsor the association's Lifetime Achievement Award, which acknowledges the contribution made by an individual who, in the opinion of the independent panel of judges, deserves to be honoured for their contribution and sustained commitment to e-assessment over the duration of their career. It is now my distinct honour to announce that this year's e-Assessment Association Lifetime Contribution Award goes to Professor Jeff Masters. So I'm delighted that Jeff is able to join us today. Many congratulations, Jeff, and you're very welcome to the stage now for a few words of reply.
Well, thank you very much, Garrett. Let me say how honoured I am to be receiving this prestigious award. It came as a real surprise, and I'm humbled to have my work recognised in this way. E-assessments, I believe, have the potential to break down old ways of thinking about assessment. If the fundamental purpose of assessment is recognised as a process of establishing and understanding where learners are in their learning, then this information can be used to look backwards, to reflect on the progress that an individual has made since some earlier time, but also at the same time to look forward, to identify what the learner's ready to learn next. So in short, what I'm saying is that e-assessments have the potential to make assessment what it always should have been, really, an integral part of good pedagogy and learning.
So many congratulations, Jeff. A well-deserved win there in the Lifetime Contribution Award. So I'd like to move us on now to the panel discussion. And I'm delighted to be joined by a panel of experts from right across the assessment sphere. And I wondered whether there were ways that ideas you'd thought about, ways you've encountered that help us engage a wider set of people in the whole research space. And Jeff, given ACER's focus on research, I wondered whether I might come to you first on this and just get your thoughts on how we widen this inclusive piece around research.
Yes, thanks, Matt. I'm not sure that there's a simple answer to this question, but I think what I would say is that partnerships are really important. It's important to bring together people with different kinds of expertise, bring together assessment specialists, psychometricians, IT specialists, ed tech companies, educational researchers, perhaps practitioners, and to bring them together around a particular issue of practice.
Eleanor, I know that when you and I were talking a few days ago, you talked about an organisation, the Research Ed Network. Is that potentially a vehicle for trying to bring people together to look at this in the way that Jeff is talking about, do you think?
Well, I mean that exists and is a very active group of teachers who are researching, they are practicing, and they are sharing their best practice with each other. And so it's a very active way of doing things. And I think there's also, I keep finding myself thinking about this word sort of nudge, which is, are there little things we can be doing to nudge things in the right direction? Because the other thing we were talking about was the sort of the cultural shift, which I find very interesting. It's kind of I don't think anybody's disputing the technology is around and the ideas are there, but it's sort of how we get that critical mass to sort of not reproduce what's there necessarily, but to make that shift.
Pete, you've done a lot of work in this area, and I know you did a PhD in e-research, so you've got the answer to all of this. What are your thoughts on all of this?
You're right, that notion of research is in the realms of the academia and the university space is a challenge one. I mean, myself, when I was doing my own research, is that you're lucky to be a member of a library, university library, so you can get access to not everything, but get access to some kind of really critical journals and some key papers. And Janine, just coming to you, I know NCFE, research is a thing that's close to NCFE's heart. And I know you're doing some really interesting stuff looking sort of to the future in terms of where assessment needs to move. What's your view on this whole research thing and making it accessible?
My view is that research actually is going to be fundamental in helping us to transition through the next stages of education and assessment. We've heard over the last 12 months about a need for change in the sector, from the way that it's delivered and designed to the way that we actually assess education. And that's one of the reasons we've really built research in the core of what we're doing from a transformation programme.
And Garrett, I mean, I know from a provider's perspective, that's an important part of this whole piece, isn't it? In helping your customers, your users, to understand that impact that can be had.
You know, one of the reasons we're involved in supporting the Centre for Assessment Research in Dublin City University is for exactly that purpose, to help leverage that academic research in a practical operational situation with our customers. And also, I mean, one of the things we're attempting to do is to make that research more widely available to people who are practitioners in the discipline. So we're using a lot of the white papers that are coming out of that research in supporting ideas that we're putting forward.
What we can do now is move to having a conversation with the winners of the Best Research Project Award. And I'm delighted to be joined by two representatives from the winning organisations, Purdue and RM. Scott Bartholomew from Purdue University, Pete Collison from RM Education.
So we really wanted to flip things on their head and see if we could turn assessment into a learning activity in and of itself. And so our study is called Learning by Evaluating, and really the crux of it was, we said, what if we gave students the opportunity to look at previously completed work, so last year's work, before they ever begin? And they did that through a comparative judgment approach. They were able to see examples of what it was they were working on. And what we discovered is that they were able to really form in their head what it was they were trying to do, what a good one looks like, right?
So RM are the providers of RM Compare, which is the underlying platform and tool that Professor Bartholomew used with his students. RM Compare is based upon a well-proven and well-researched principle of comparative judgment that's been around for a number of years. For those that aren't familiar with that, very simplistically, that's just simply the art of comparing pieces of work rather than looking at individual pieces of work in isolation. And it's been proven that that's particularly powerful when you're looking at work that is subjective in nature, where there isn't always a black and white, right or wrong answer.
Big thank you to all of you for joining us today, and for those of you who have joined us on all of the 4 awards sessions. That's it for now. For another year of the E-Assessment Awards, the opportunity to submit nominations for next year's awards will follow in what will be a very short space of time in the autumn, usually around sort of the end of September, early October. We open up the process again. So if you know of a really good project that's delivering real change and impact with the use of technology, then do encourage them to submit a nomination and be up with a chance of winning an award next year.